Morning, everyone. Welcome back to Deep Sky Farms, and welcome back to Saxlingham. It's 6:30 in the morning, September 1st, and we had a very, very busy day yesterday, but we've got to get up and at it again today. We've got to deal with that straw that's out there. So, just as a note, there was an update to the map. I am now on the V1.0.0.1 version. Thankfully, I didn't have to do too much. I kind of just started over from scratch and ran stuff in the background and set up the vehicles and everything the way they were. So, wasn't a big deal. There might be a little bit of a difference in our fill levels for the wheat that we harvested. But other than that, we are basically the same. I did pick up this while I was trucking around. We've got a little livestock trailer for when we start the sheep project, and I found this. It's a Raptor Ford Ranger Raptor, and it's right-hand drive. So we have a UK truck. Ooh, cool. But before we do that, I sent the word out through our dealer network that we were looking for a windrower. And apparently we have one on the used network. Perfect. So I want to buy this. This is what we're going to get into today. Yep. That's the one. Okay. And also I put the word out. Anything else interesting in here? Like that, a second combine would be nice. But we ain't got the scratch for that. This is going to be our mulcher for mulching fields. So we're going to buy that, and we'll pick them both up in good time. You know, it's too bad we can't run them in tandem. Anyway, let's head on down to the dealer. I don't have the weight on the front or on the back. We're just running with a bare tractor. And while we're down there, I need to do a little bit of service to the tractor. And I am going to install Headlands management, because that's going to be the focus of the episode today. I want to show you how I windrow with Headlands management and enhanced vehicle mod. So let's go. Morning. It seems like I get a different NPC every time I come in here. Anyway, we're going to repair. Yes, we're not going to repaint it because we can't afford that. But Headlands management, it's sort of like the, what was it called? Guidance steering mod? You have to buy it. The good thing is it's only $3,000. You have to buy it and install it on the tractor. I don't know if it puts a little visual thing on there. Doesn't look like it. I see a lever moving, but I don't see anything visual in there to indicate that it's in there. Anyways, Headland management, once you download the mod, you bring your vehicle into the shop and you install it for $3,000. Or if you're buying a new vehicle, you buy it right from the get-go. We're going to do that. Yes. Okay. Now, let's pick up our windrower and head off to the fields. And basically, now you can see in our user interface, or in the HUD, we have a new little button right here, off. This is for Headlands management. It lets you know whether it's off or on. And we'll get there once we get there. Now, you may be asking yourselves, why? What does this thing do? This thing, it allows you to take better control and more precise control of steering and operating in your headlands. It allows you to set up contour lines to follow the contour of the field, and we'll get to that. It also allows for automating action. and we like automating action as much as we can. Think of this as one step above or one step beyond the basic GPS that ships with the game, and one step slightly less than full-on auto drive or full-on course play. Okay, so here we are. We're going to roll into our field, and we're going to try and pick up a straight edge here. Something like that. Unfold our windrower, and we're going to turn on the other mod that I have, which is Enhanced Vehicle. Now, Enhanced Vehicle, it's not available on the mod hub as far as I know. I got my version off of GitHub. I'll post a link down below in the description. I'll try to remember it. Let's hop in here into the controls. And we're going to scroll all the way down. There's Headland Management. There's Follow Me. Here's Enhanced Vehicle. And it's all based off of the right control panel. Okay. So on the GitHub page, if you go there, there's a command reference. And it's helpful when you're learning this mod to have the command reference open. It'll help a lot. So here's the basic. Right control end turns it on. Shift home sets your track. Right control 3 turns on your track layout so you can see where you're going. Now this here, you can see we're by luck lined up with the edge of the field, but you can adjust it if you want, right? Back and forth like that. That's control page up and page down. You can shift it left and right. That's control, right control plus and minus on the number pad. Okay. And if you scroll back out, you can see that right now we're on track number 0. Now, right here, right above my mouse, 0 plus 1 plus 1. That's your track path. So whenever we get to the end and initiate a turn, it's going to go from 0 plus 1 to 1. This can be adjusted with right control and 4 to reduce it. So now we're at 0 minus 1, so that would put us there. Or right control 6 increases that. So see, now we're 0 plus 2, that would put us on track number 2 over here. Okay, so let's bring that back to 0 plus 1, 1. So this is going to be our track layout. So we've got it engaged. Our heading is engaged here. We've got our track. Okay. Turn our windrower on. Drop it down as usual. And I am going to set my cruise control down so that we can do this in the headland, or control this in the headland. Okay. So we're going to set our cruise and we're going to go. You can do this manually. You can drive it with whatever WASD or, you know, joystick input or controller or whatever. I like doing it with the cruise control, but that's just me. But you can see we're following along here and we are doing our 8-meter windrow. And then when we get up to the end, I'm going to just stop or slow right down to show you the next step. For reference right now, I'm playing with the SimTask Farm Stick. I don't have my Xbox controller fired up. I don't need it right now. So, as we roll up to the end, I'm going to dial back the speed, okay, to about whatever is comfortable that I feel I can make the turn. And still narrate this whole process. And I'm going to try and hit it so that I'm just about at this headland. And did you hear that beep? That was our headland beep. So we lift, okay, and then turn. And those are just 2 buttons. I'm not touching anything right now. And as we come around, drop, crank our speed back up. And you may be wondering why we're doing this, and it's mostly because Courseplay kind of leaves a mess when it's doing combine. It's not the cleanest, most easiest way to do it. You could theoretically come out here and set your baler up with the Courseplay course, and that's something we might do on another field, but I find doing it with the Headlands, or with running the windrower over it, it cleans the field up nicely, especially when you're doing it manually. You can be as fussy as you want about it. Okay, so when we get up to the other end, I pressed one of the buttons on my farm stick. I've got it programmed to do the automatic turn. When we get to the end, we'll do it with the keyboard. So here we are. We're going to hit 1 on the keyboard to dial our speed right down. Our beeper just went off. Beep. I'm doing it in super slow motion. Lift our implement right at about the second headland. And we are going to hit Control Home. And that's going to initiate our turn. Start bringing our speed back up as we want, as much as we want. And as we come down around this row, drop it. Now, I missed it a little bit at the end there. Bring our speed back up. And you can see what I kind of want to do is take this from being a 2-headland field to a 1-headland field, so I only have to go around the outside with the baler once. So once we get up to the end, I'm going to show you how to come back up this row. Basically what we're going to do is, remember this thing here, I'm going to make us turn left instead of right and come back up this row here. So to do that, we go Control 4. And we're on number 2. We're going to turn and we're going to go back up -1 row. And we're going to come back up row 1 and we're going to get that, the end of that, that headland straightened up nice. So here we are. We're going to drag our speed right down, get the end of this headland. There. Up. Turn. And I'm just going to run with it up like that, so that way I can wind the speed up a little bit. And then, right now we're on number 1, we're going to want to jump over to number 3. So we're going to go Control 6, and you can see our target is now number 3. Then we can just pick up our course after we adjust it to do what we want. And lower our implement. And see, we have a little bit of room on the grass here to make our turn. So we're okay. It's mostly because I want to clean up this corner. All right. There. Up. Turn. And we're going to roll out on number 3. I could have pulled ahead a little bit more, but I think we're good. There. Yep. Bring our speed back up. So our next target to pick up the pattern is 4. So we are going to hit Control 4 and bring our target here back down to 4. It's a lot to take in. I've been messing with this for a few weeks now, trying to wrap my head around it. Personally, I have always used vehicle control add-on. I used it in Farm Sim 22. I didn't use guidance steering. It didn't feel right to me. It wasn't my jam. Fair enough. But this thing here, this kind of blew me away once I started doing it. Mostly, at first I was like, ooh, what's this? Oh, it's not vehicle control add-on. But once I started actually playing it and figuring out how to effectively use it, I did really, really appreciate what it was doing. So now our next turn is going to be on to number 4. You'll see. So here we go. We're getting up to the end. We're going to dial our speed back. Lift. Turn. And I mean, you could do it at full speed if you think you can hit the controls fast enough. Good on ya. I don't have those kinds of reflexes anymore. All right, here we go. Back up the field. Now, you may be asking yourself, what about these lines? What do all these lines do? These are your lane markers. If you want, you can turn them off. They turn off as you disable the HUD, right along with everything else. Or, Control 3 changes the mode. So now you've got your tractor heading. Control 3 again gives tractor heading and the lane markers. Control 3 again shuts everything off. So you're back in a normal, you know, if you want to do the immersive thing right now. Did we get it? We got it. Up, turn. Back down. Drag our cruise control back up. So, is this a thing that exists in modern tractors? Yeah, sure it does. I mean, watch any of the Real Farm videos, like Laura Farms or whatever. They've got some version of this that does this. We live in the era of GPS technology now. It's kind of cool. You know, we're not riding around on open station tractors anymore. Because I did that when I was a kid, and it was fun when I was a kid. I would imagine that if I was doing it as long as I was doing it now, or the entire time, I would imagine that if I had continued to do that as a career, I would be pretty broken by now. Farming is a hard life. And nothing but respect to those who do it professionally. Okay, here we go. Dial it back down. Let's see, can we do this? Watch our row. Up. Turn. Watch the outside wing. Yeah, we're good. As we come around and it straightens us out. Down again. Yeah, here we go. Oh, and of course this will happen too. Like every once in a while you'll hit a spot where you're just not lined up with it. It happens. It's just math. And of course, every once in a while you'll hit one where you're catching 2 rows at once. It depends on your harvester, really. It depends on your harvester. It depends on the angle that it was running at originally. You know, like I say, that part is just math. We're getting a little bit of it here. So it won't be a completely empty row, but... Okay, so we're going to try that in-cab spin around again up here. I mean, if you want to be really into it, let's see. Can we do it like this? No HUD at all. Up, turn. Watch our outside corner. Straightens out. And down we go. And bring our speed back up. Do we have an indicator here for what our cruise control is? No. Okay, I'm going to put dashboard live on this thing. Someone remind me to put dashboard live on, because that'll give us a little HUD right there to keep track of what's going on. Or not a HUD, it's a display. Okay, so we're almost at the edge of this field. I wanted to drop in here and tell you a couple other things about enhanced vehicle. Rate control and number pad / the divide symbol brings up the settings for enhanced vehicle. So what can we do here? Headland mode, nothing. Turn around automatically. Disable cruise control. We can do all of those things. Okay. And we can set our headland distance here, working with 0 meters before end of field, 1, 2, 3 manual. Okay. Bring that back to working with. And the alarm sound, you can change that here as well. Show lines. Okay. Hide lines automatically. Okay. And you can change a whole bunch of HUD settings here if you want. We also have a parking brake if you like to play with parking brake. Let's hop out of this quickly. I think we're getting up near the end. See, that's where having that alarm set would have been mighty handy. Okay, up. Turn. Down. And off we go again. So we're going to jump back in there and we're going to try this. And we're going to set turn around automatically and see what this does. Turn around automatically. And there will be a little change on our HUD. Now, you see our HUD? This here changed the mode for it. Turn around automatically. This on the HUD, this is our working width. This is our headland width. This is the distance to our headland. Also, I noticed that we've got a little bit of crop distraction happening right in the center of the rower. I don't know if that's intentional or if it's just a thing. Okay, so I am going to stand by here with my finger on the S button and my hand on the joystick to yeet control away from this thing should we require it. Okay, it's turning. I didn't touch anything. It just did that on its own. Okay, so that's another stage of operation if you want to play with that. All you got to do at the end is knock your speed down, lift your implement. Let's try it up again. Let's try that at the other end. And then I'll show you the very, very basics of what I want to use headland management for. And then on the next field, we're going to put it all together for something that I think pretty cool. Okay, here we go. We're approaching the end. I'm going to dial it back a little bit. There's our beep. I'm going to try to get right up in here. Up. Down. As it spins out. Alright. Our field is looking mighty clean. I don't know if we're going to have enough room to do one more. Actually, yeah, we will, because it'll taper as we come up. And we're heading towards the wide part of the taper. So what we're going to do on this one, going to hit Control slash, right Control slash, change our headland mode to disable cruise control. Now what this ought to do when we get to the end is it should bring us to a dead stop. Let's see what happens. All right, here we go. What's going to happen? That was it. It just did it. So, do that. Set up our turn. Start our cruise again. All right, up we go for one more straighten here, and then we start playing with headland management a little bit. And I want to show you what I think is the cool feature of headland management. And then on the next field, we're going to put it all together and show how these two mods work together. Okay, so we're here in the headland management menu. I get there through a button on my controller. If I remember correctly, it's Control X. What we're looking for is headland management, headland mode, field mode. That's not the one. Settings, this is the one. Left Shift Control X. But you can change these keyboard bindings to whatever you want. And you can set up this here as well if you want. Okay. And I probably will now that I'm looking at it, but I'm not going to get into it right now. Because what I want to show you here on the next thing is the contour guide. So enable contour guide on. What this is going to do is this is going to follow the edge of the field. So we're going to start out with one lane only. Okay. So activates control along the edge of the field either for one lane only or until it is switched off again. This function is only active in field mode. In headland mode, it is on standby. Okay, fine. We're going to take first left because for us, our field edge is on our left. That's the way we're pointing. First left. Orientation is field boundary. Okay. I haven't played with processed area. We're going to assume field boundary. This is a super powerful mod, and I haven't completely figured it out, but I figured out enough to show you some cool stuff about it. Enable front sensor. Yes, this is going to put a sensor out the front of our tractor and make our corners a little bit smoother. Distance to field edge. Okay. So we have a 8 meter. Our windrower is 8 meters. We need half of that. Alternatively, if you want to hedge it a little bit, you could set the distance to 3 meters. Or if you want to try and get it right on the money, you set manual distance, manual setting, and down here we go 4 meters, and make sure you press enter. Increase distance automatically. This doesn't work the way you think it does. This is for something else. It's going to be a completely different video, okay? So right now we're going to just press OK. And we're going to turn this on. And you'll see we have a little F with the arrow. Now, what they recommend when you're in this mode is keep your cruise control set to 10 kilometers an hour or less. So we're going to set our cruise control to 10 kilometers an hour or less. Turn it on, and you see we've got that blue line off the side. That's reading the distance to the edge. And if you look around at the front here, This is our front sensor. Okay, now we're coming up to a corner here. We're just going to watch this thing, and I kind of picked this field because it has rounded corners on it. So it should make a nice, even arc. There we go. That's just dandy. So it's going to follow the contour of the field along here. Now, if you wanted to be, I don't know what the word is, a little bit more efficient about this, instead of starting right at the edge of the field here, like we did with row 0, because you can see on our HUD that we're on row 0, lane 0, call them lanes, I like that. Instead of starting on lane 0, we could have actually started, set this up, start on lane 1, and then manage this with headland management as we follow the contour around. Because basically right now we're sort of doing the work twice. On the other hand, all of that being said, on the other hand, we've got a pretty clean row to work with. So any little tweaking that needs to happen, it'll just happen. You know, we're not going to be worrying about misses or anything like that. So this is a pretty nasty corner here where the combine swung around, and we've got a wavy end to the field. So let's watch and see what this does. All right. Yeah. This is nice as pie, to be honest. Now, I don't know if you'd get results this clean in, say, plowing or mowing. But for windrowing, it's doing a pretty good job. Also, just as a note here, I am not touching the controls. This is all fully automatic. I'm just babysitting it. Do you have to be in the tractor? Yes. This is not a fully automated system. It's a mostly automated system. Oh, so close. If we would have set it to 3 meters, we probably would have gotten that. Maybe that's the strategy to employ, in the same idea that you offset your field margins when you're setting up course play. It lets your implement hang off over the edge a little bit more. But that's something you'll have to, once you get the basics of this figured out, then you can start really fine-tuning it and really making it work for you. See, we're following the contour, and it's steering a lot, which is fine. You know, but like what we're doing here is we're contouring up this one windrow here, so that whenever we come back with the baler, we can set this up at this offset, right? Set this up at a 4 meter offset, and the baler should follow this around nicely. But that's going to be in our next episode. There we go. Yeah, nice. And we're back here. Okay, so we've finished up with field 3, and we've moved over to field 2, and I'm going to show you the next level of integration between enhanced vehicle and headlands management. So we're set up on track number -1 here. Track number -1, track numbers, which is left of track 0. And we've got our next track is going to be track number 2. You can see it here in green. And you'll see that if I start to pull ahead, it's going to try to roll out onto the center line. of track -1. We're going to leave track 0 now as a contour like we did on the last one, okay? So we're going to eliminate that. But what we want to do, and we're just going to go into control number pad / we're going to make sure we're going to leave this at Headlands nothing. Okay, 10, we're just going to leave everything as it is. We're not going to change anything, but most importantly, we're going to have headland mode as nothing. Okay. Now, we are going to go into the Headlands management menu. And if you don't remember the keyboard command for that, it is in the settings menu. You can find it from there. So what we're going to do, we are going to ignore all of this for now, okay? And we're going to come down. We're going to skip the contour guide settings. We're going to go to GPS control. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this GPS control, stop GPS steering, okay? Only enhanced vehicle. Because that's the one we're using. We're not using vehicle control add-on for our steering. Okay. Turn our thing on, drop it down, get our cruise control going, and off we go. Oh, and we're going to turn headland management on, and you see now it's in F for field mode. And we're just going to watch what happens when we get up to the end. This is the complex part for me. This is the part that I'm still working on figuring out 100%. But so far, so good. And the reason that I took the time to do this is because I used to use vehicle control add-on for this exact thing. And unfortunately, it looks like VCA might be abandoned because it hasn't seen an update in a while. It's still working, but I'm only using it for the camera switcher. So we'll see what happens, and I feel comfortable now that if I have to use enhanced vehicle, fine, I'll figure out a camera switcher. Okay, let's see what happens as we approach our headland here. It just beeped. Okay, I stopped it. And I just changed into headland mode. So what happens when I change into headland mode? It stops the PTO and it lifts the implement. So I'm going to initiate a manual turn with enhanced vehicle. And as we swing back around, I'm going to take us out of headland mode. Again, these shortcuts will be different for you than they are for me. So make sure you look them up. And we're going to run down again and I'll show you again. Except this time, we're not going to stop. We're going to try and stay in cab and see if we can pull this off with just cranking the cruise right down. Okay, so here we are. Let's have a look outside. How close are we? Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to really exaggerate this and start backing this down. Well, maybe not quite that much. But as we cross that windrow, bleep bleep, headland mode. Okay. Come on in. Initiate the turn. And then back out. Back onto field mode. Okay, cool. That's working. Although I said I was going to do it from inside the cab, but whatever. You get the point. I think it was more illustrative to show you from the outside. Oh, and let's dial our cruise back up. Okay, so now, next chain. Back to the menu. Okay, so only enhanced vehicle, automatic turn. Okay. Apparently, Headland management will work with vanilla GPS. I haven't tried it yet. Okay, now you can see that the F has a couple of little angle brackets around it. And what that means is we're in field mode with some automatic stuff on. Okay, here we go. I'm still going to dial this back. There. And once we get in, we're going to get in up close as we can. And I'm going to initiate headland mode. There's our warning chirp. Okay. Headland mode. And I'm not touching anything. Now that we've got automatic turn activated, it's doing its turn. And once it rolls out, we drop ourselves back into field mode. Off we go. Okay. And dial this back up. Okay, here we are. We're rolling up again. We're in automatic field mode. Just to prove it to myself and to you. But mostly to myself, that wasn't a fluke. I dialed back our speed. We're rolling up here. Press the button to activate headland mode and it'll initiate the turn all on its own. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And back out. Okay. So now we're going to hop in and we're going to change one more setting. Back in the menu. Now we're going to set headland automatic. We're going to turn headland automatic on. Trigger, front, headland width. I'm going to make this. I'm going to call that 7. Okay, and hit enter. Okay. And we can see our F has turned to an A with the little pointy brackets. Angle braces, to be specific. Oh, and let's dial our speed back up. Actually, that would be an interesting experiment, is to just roll over this with a regular roller and see if we get the crop destruction. Anyways, we're going to be taking a shredder to this pretty soon. And I will be doing it with this. I'm going to put on somebody's cool podcast, and I'm going to sit back, put my feet up, and watch my tractor. Oh, there's the chirp. Oh, hey, it's turning. I didn't touch anything. And you notice that it drops its speed in the headlands all on its own. See, we're not quite there yet. It still thinks it's in a headland. Let me press the button. And we'll run up to the other end. That was kind of messy. I'll fix that later. Okay, I just realized something. There is a reason that it didn't switch over. And the reason it didn't switch back to field mode is I forgot to turn on automatic field mode. So when we turn this, switches back to field mode as soon as the vehicle has changed course by 180 degrees. So let's turn that on. And actually, I'm going to dial this back to 5 too. It'll take a little bit of tweaking. Okay, here we go. Let's go back to the outside camera. Bleep, bleep. Still not touching anything. Up. Okay. And around it goes. And that did that all on its own. So that's the different modes. That's how you set up enhanced vehicle and headland management and get them to play nice together. You can do this. I'm gonna make one more change to that. I'm gonna bring our headland width down to 3. Okay, and we're gonna see what that does. Because if we can bring that in nice and tight and get a really nice field margin going on here, or a really nice set of windrows going, I might just redo this field. Okay, now actually let's do this. Let's change our line mode. You can use whatever line mode you want. I just happen to like that one. And we're going to keep our eyes here. See, this is flashing on and off. It's trying to get a reading. This doesn't have a sense for the edge of the field yet. There we go, 92, 90. Okay. Now what should happen is this should tick down to 3 before it turns. Because we have nothing set up for that. Let's go back outside. Down we come. 15, 13, 12, 8, 6, 5, 3. Boom. That's the one. And down we go. All right. So that's how you set up headland management and how you set up enhanced vehicle. This has been fun, and I think I might use Saxlingham as a teaching lab or a learning lab or something like that. Especially when we get into big automation projects like this, because to just go out here and drive without talking about anything, kind of boring. So I am going to call it here. I'm going to finish doing all this. I'm going to put on a podcast and finish off my field. I'm going to put on an Otter Plays podcast. Because, you know, Minecraft. And if you like Minecraft, go over and see them at the Otter Plays channel. Thank you very much for coming out. We're over 150 subscribers. We hit 151 this morning. I really appreciate that. That's cool. Next goal, 152. We're going to make it a modest goal. But I think we can get there. Thank you all for coming out. Thanks for watching us. If you like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up. If you really like what we're doing, think about subscribing. Help us grow the channel. Help us get to 152. And the next episode is going to be agroforest. I think we're probably going to be doing a corn harvest on there. I can show you how to set this up to make it work with the combine. Or something. We'll see. Anyways. Thanks y'all for coming out. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, y'all.